Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're talking about cards to ban. That's right, cards to ban. So what I have here, I kind of ordered this in the order of cards that should go onto the ban list and then cards that should come off of the ban list. I'll start with the main deck. I thought there'd be more cards to talk about, but to be honest, there really isn't. Magic Spectre Unicorn Corinne, I understand the card's at 1, but there's a couple of reasons why I think this card should go to 0. One, it's not that great of a card in its own archetype. Like, if you're not good in your own archetype, are you a really good card? And this card is a great card. It's a phenomenal card, but it's not even good in its own archetype. It's really better utilized in decks with scales that from 5 to 7 essentially, or at least a card that can special summon Magic Spectre Unicorn Corinne. Completely unbalanced. 2,000 attacks, actually pretty strong. And the fact that he can just return himself to dodge any form of battle destruction, can't be targeted or destroyed by opponent's card effects. It's just a really good card. It's a really phenomenal card. I agreed with it going to 1. I agree with it getting banned. This card, Elemental Hero Shadow Mist, I was trying to think of another deck to hit because for a while I had these cards right here, and that was it, and I couldn't think of anything else. So I ended up just kind of throwing in these two right here. I think this card would be. I don't think this card necessarily needs to get banned, but the fact that it searches for any hero and it can just you could do so many plays off of that, off adding a Bubble Man, special summoning him out, and the fact that there's so many different ways to special summon a level 4 dark elemental hero warrior type monster. The fact that Elemental Hero Shadow Mist's add change effect um, is when she is special summoned, makes the card really unbalanced. And Dark Claw, you could see being the replacement to Shadow Mist. Maybe if you put Dark Claw on the ban list instead of Shadow Mist, because really Dark Claw's a problem, not Shadow Mist. Melody of the Awakening Dragon. I put that card on here because if there would be one card to hit for Blue Eyes, it would be this card because this card is essentially a free alternative dragon. Um, and if you pitch a White Stone or if you pitch an Ancient Stone, it turns into even more pluses, more positives. Now, Blue Eyes isn't really that strong of a deck anymore, simply because there are so many cards that can counter Blue Eyes. And I don't have Gospel Revival in here is because I feel like Melody of the Awakening Dragon targets specifically Blue Eyes, whereas Gospel Revival targets so many decks with dragons in it. A couple of cards in here that really are more preemptive strikes rather than um, reactive strikes, and that's DDD Sage of Prophecy Kepler and MX Saber Invoker. This card, MX Saber Invoker, starting with him, like he's just absolutely unbalanced. The fact that I'm not even quite sure how MX Sabers easily make this card. In fact, I'm not sure how most decks that use this card easily make this card. But I was gonna put Speedroid Terratop on this list, but I really don't want to destroy Speedroid simply because Janishishis and BA PK Fire just absolutely abuse their best card. That's really not fair to those decks. So really should get hit. And PK Fire is kind of falling out of the meta, but Janishishi is going to be really strong. And the best play with Janishishi is simply opening with Speedroid Terratop. But the reason is because of MX Saber Invoker. And I think kind of a thing to get off on another tangent with Yu-Gi-Oh! Has always been like, do we ban, for example, I have Norden in the extra deck, so do we ban Instant Fusion because it gets to Norden, or do we ban Norden because Instant Fusion was fine before it? And that's kind of always been like this give and take argument sort of thing. Do we ban the card that makes the card or the card that the card makes, if that makes sense? In the beginning back to Kepler, this is in my opinion the best DD card. I think all three of these cards would be worth just going to 1, see where they're at, kind of like what Konami did with Corinne. Just putting them at 1, seeing what happens to the decks, and moving on. There are still a lot of really good plays DDDs can make without Kepler, but DDDs, the way they play the game, I just think really isn't too fair to the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! They don't try to overpower you, they don't try to swarm the field, they try to make you not play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think decks that make you not play Yu-Gi-Oh! Are decks that should not exist, or at least good versions of those decks. And then the next card I want to talk about is Union Hanger. Union Hanger, to me, this is kind of like the same as like Kepler. Like, there are a lot of cards you probably could ban in both these archetypes, or at the very least limit. But the reason I go with Union Hanger is because it's the best one. Union Hanger unbricks their hands. It continues their plays. Literally, the deck has kind of become Union Hanger or bust, which is why a lot of people are kind of going away from it to turn into Metaphors or Paleozoic Frogs. It's one of the best field spells ever. I still think Cosmo Town is better than Union Hanger, but to be honest, it's a very close. This is very close between the two of them. I guess like Ancient City Ruins and Necro Valley could also be in that discussion as well. But Union Hanger is such a powerful card, and in such a powerful archetype, it still can go off. Even though ABCs are kind of considered the second or third best deck, it still can go off. The next deck I want to talk about, even though it's not in this order, it kind of goes down here, and that's Paleozoics. Paleozoics, um, I was trying to figure out what would be the best card for Paleozoics. It really, yeah, there's the Destiny Draw trap card, there's the Karma Cut trap card. All those trap cards do a lot, but banning those cards, I don't know if that really solves the problem. And I think what you should do to solve the problem of how good the deck is to take out their best cards. And there is the other Paleozoic card that's actually easier to make for their extra deck. That's a Searcher and turns their traps into spells, which is a very good card. But he only has 0 attack, and so it's kind of like, how good is he really? This card is a phenomenal card. Paleozoic Anomalocaris. I just feel like he's the best Paleozoic now. Obviously, hitting Tree Toad would be bigger, and I think hitting Tree Toad would allow Bahamut Shark to dodge the ban list. I still think Bahamut Shark might get hit instead of Totally Awesome, excuse me, strictly because Bahamut Shark is older. But they did the opposite with Elder Entity Norden, so I wouldn't be surprised if Totally Awesome, because Totally Awesome is just an unbalanced card. I think a year from now, maybe even 2 months from now, maybe even after the next ban list, will Totally Awesome be at 3. It's just a completely unbalanced card. It can negate anything, it can take cards. Like the interaction of trying to Raigeki a field, Raigeki getting negated, and then getting taken so your opponent can use Raigeki on your board, like that's just completely unfair mechanic, and that's just, this card probably never should have been made, to be honest. If that card doesn't get hit, Bahamut Shark probably will. If neither of them get hit, Norden probably will. I still think even if Treat or Totally Awesome gets hit, Norden should get hit. There's got to be a way to just kind of slow the game down, because that's like the biggest problem a lot of people have with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that it's essentially 14 turns because there's this crazy lock that neither player can get out of, or it's 3 turns because, or 2 turns because someone didn't play well enough first turn and they got OTK'd second turn. And that has a lot to do with instant rank 4s, and I think if you ban Norden, you slow down the game a little bit, which is something you need, that Yu-Gi-Oh! Needs. Going on to the next part, Metaphors was a harsh one for me to think of what to ban, so I kind of just like threw everything I could think of on here, other than any main deck monsters. Like this searches sort of, and these two are clearly their best two fusions. I think these two might get hit, but the thing is about extra deck cards is putting them at 1 doesn't do a lot. Like I think putting Omega at 1, like he is in the OCG, that would be relevant. But like Norden, he's probably only going to be seen once a duel. These two are probably only going to be seen once a duel, so putting them at 1 is not going to do a lot. But banning them outright would hurt the deck a lot, and maybe they'll go after this. Maybe limiting combination and counter would be relevant. But in a deck of normal monsters, which normal monster takes precedent? I think Gold Driver, Wolf Flame, like, I really think it's going to have to be. And I don't think either of the spells are really that unbalanced. I really do think it's the trap cards, which is interesting because I usually don't think trap cards are good. But these two are two of the best trap cards in the game right now. Speaking of which, I put these two on here. These kind of round off cards I think should get banned. I understand Vanity's Emptiness is at 1, but this card's just, it's unfair. It's not as unfair as Anti-Spell Fragrance, which is interesting because Anti-Spell's at 3 and Vanity Emptiness is at 1. Um, this card, like, it doesn't allow you to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And my thing with Anti-Spell Fragrance is, like, it takes no skill to play. Vanity's Emptiness, you have to be like, am I going to create a field big enough to where it's not going to get destroyed, and it's going to be strong enough to kill my opponent, and it's going to be able to play through Vanity's Emptiness? And also, am I going to be able to turn off Vanity's Emptiness when need be? That's like skills, that's like thoughts you have to actually have to think of. And like, your thought when playing anti-spell is, does my opponent have Twin Twister? Like, the rest of the cards in here are cards I think should go to 3 or at least 1. These 4, I believe, are all, let me see, oh, except for Heavy Storm, which is weird. But these cards are all at 1 in the OCG, so this is an interesting way to get perspective on these cards. So I think that maybe trying out Heavy Storm, I always thought Heavy Storm was worse than Harpy's Feather Duster before we released Harpy's Feather Duster. Um, and then releasing Monster Reborn. Now, I've always said, like, just because it's this in the OCG doesn't mean it's going to be this in the TCG, because TCG has different archetypes. We have, like, kaijus, and we have sub-terrors, and we have so many different things. And there's also, like, the sets are released differently, and there's just timing is off as well. And our ban lists are obviously different, so just because it's some way in the OCG doesn't mean it has to be that way in the TCG. But Brain Control has been power crept a lot. I don't know why this card is still banned. I think Heavy Storm wouldn't be too bad at 1. Same with Brain Control. I think Monster Reborn may be a problem, but it is at the OCG at 1. Just being able to summon from either player graveyard is just insanely powerful. It's just absolutely just broken and unnecessary. Kaiser Coliseum should go back to 3. It wasn't really that meta before it got banned. It's still, like, I kind of make this case every single ban list. Like, why are Infernities and Inzectors still at 1? Like, I get it. It was super fast when it came out, like, 5 years ago. But, like, it's not 2013. Dragon Rulers aren't the best deck of the format. If Dragon Rulers came in the format right now, they'd probably be like the 6th or 5th best deck. That's a discussion for a whole different video. But, like, power creep is a thing, alright? There's no reason for these cards to be at 1. I think Solemn Judgment should go back to 1, because this card is, in my opinion, the most skillful card in all Yu-Gi-Oh! This is Compulsory Evacuation Device is another card I think that got power crept pretty hard. And the final card I want to talk about is Ritual Beast Alti-Conhawk. It's weird that I was just talking about it, like, oh, putting cards at 1 and the extra deck doesn't do a lot, but putting Ritual Beast Conahawk at or Alti Conahawk at 1 really did hurt the deck a lot, and I think the deck would function just significantly better and faster if this card went back to 3, which I think would be interesting to see how Ritual Beast could be at full power in this format, because E-Telly's still at 1, and I think it should stay at 1. And Ritual Beast really wouldn't be that great of a deck regardless. But that's all I have to say for this video. Don't forget to hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and have a great day.